Hi, this is Richard Freedkin with eXp Realty, and I'm coming to you with another segment in my five-part video series of how to sell your home for the most amount of money in the fastest amount of time possible. In video one, I covered how to price a home properly, and in the second video, I discussed the importance of preparing a home properly. In this, my third video, we're going to discuss the importance of staging a home properly and why it's so important. One of the questions that I hear many times from home sellers is, does staging really make a difference? Well, today I've brought in a very special guest and a very good friend of mine to answer these questions and more. I'm joined today by Tuethorn, who I happen to use quite a bit on my own listings, and she does a fantastic job. Ann is one of the reasons that my listings sell faster and for more money than realtors that don't use home stagers. Ann is truly a professional and is the owner of At Home Staging Solutions located in McHenry, and she's been in the home staging arena for 14 years and is a full-service staging company tailoring her services to meet your needs. Ann's company is accredited by the Accredited Staging Professionals and is actively involved in her local chapter of the International Association of Home Staging Professionals. So, Ann, thank you very much for joining me today. Start with the basics because a lot of people confuse staging with decorating. So, tell us,
Right.
what exactly is staging and how is it different from decorating a home for personal taste? And why is staging such an important part of selling in today's real estate market?
Right. Well, staging is preparing a property for sale. You want it to appear very neutral and appeal to the majority of buyers. It's actually opposite of decorating. So we're not doing to the homeowner's specific taste, personality, collections, things like that. We're kind of neutralizing the property, taking out any personal pictures, personal items, specific decor. We want a neutral palette with pops of what we call movable color. We don't want the color to be solid color like red walls or red curtains, sinks and toilets that are various colors. We want everything to be neutral that's going to be staying there and that's sort of set in stone. And then everything else we want to be movable color, like pillows, candles, curtains, accessories, things like that. We basically look at three things, which are the three C's of stage. It's color, clutter, and cleanliness. We like the home to be neutral color, like I said, all the walls, carpeting, everything neutral. Clutter all put away. We all have the daily clutter thrown on the counter or in bedrooms and tables and things like that. We like to tuck that away, keep it in baskets or just out of the way. And then cleanliness. We recommend a top to bottom, full clean professionally, and bugs out of the light fixtures, getting into your faucets with like almost like Q-tip clean, call it, getting in the corners, cleaning the appliances, the fridge, kitchen cabinets, things like that. Buyers know what they see, not how it will be. So everything needs to be laid out and shown to the buyer. We don't want to leave anything to their imagination. So doing these things kind of helps the buyer envision themselves living there. They don't have to imagine anything. They're not walking into another home where they're seeing a family up on the wall, personal pictures. They don't feel like they're in like their own home, potentially their own home. It's a lot more to it than just fluffing pillows and putting flowers on a vase in the
Which we've
table.
all seen.
So
Right.
a lot more, yes, a
Yes.
lot more to it than that. And I could go
So,
into more detail, but
well, you will because I have more questions
yeah,
for you.
yes.
I've seen studies that say stage homes sell faster and for money. Have you found that to be true in your own work? I mean, I can truly attest to that in my listings, but what have you found about that?
Yes, definitely they sell much faster and for more money. A lot of stats are out there on NAR, the National Association of Realtors. They find that 83% of notice that buyers can envision themselves there living in the property after staging. So it's definitely sells faster and for more money. My stats personally, if I can read them to you,
Sure.
is what I'd like to sort of portray today. Within selling on the same day, or getting, that's like getting offers on the same day, 0 days on the market, I have 19% of my stage properties today. Offers within 1 day is 34%. Offers within 2 days total is 44%. This is cumulative. Within 3 days is 54%. Then offers within 7 days is 71%. Then it kind of jumps. We've got within 2 weeks it would be 70%. So a good majority sell very quickly and for more money.
Yeah, the statistics definitely speak for themselves. I know on my listings, I almost always have
Mhm.
an offer the first evening or the next morning. And my stats just in the last 6 months,
Right,
and I use you for staging all my homes. And my stats the last 6 months is that my average time to contract is less than 3 days. So the numbers speak for themselves when you see a lot of homes, especially right now on the market. The average time to contract in this area, the McHenry area, is 45 days. So I'm definitely
right.
outperforming the numbers, and your numbers prove that out as well. I know a lot of sellers
Yeah.
wonder what actually happens when a stager comes in to the home. So let's walk through that process a little bit. When you first walk into a home, what's your process for deciding what needs to be done?
Well, it depends if it's occupied or vacant.
Okay,
So for an occupied,
let's talk about a vacant home first.
first, I have a phone call with them and then come out and do the preview for the property. So I'll walk through, take some measurements, look at the rooms they want to stage, sort of see what the caliber of the home is, the size, the location, things like, how many stairs, how far is it from the driveway to the house, all the things that matter to myself and to the homeowner. Then I go back to the office and I'll create a vacant bid for the homeowners where I go ahead and place every room gets an estimate as far as how much the staging will be, the moving costs and all that. I don't know if you want more of that information. But basically, I'm looking at the house and looking at what are the strong points of the house.
Mhm.
What are the weaknesses of the house? We want the buyer's eye to be pulled towards the strong points of the house and not overlooked. Sometimes when the home is vacant, all that anybody can see is the weaknesses or the defects
Mhm.
in the property.
Right.
So that's the whole point of having furniture in the home. They could come in, sit down, envision themselves there in the property. It gives the each room a purpose, a function, a flow, that type of thing. So I'm looking at things like that, how we can incorporate the staging to highlight the strong points of the home and take away any of or take the buyer's eye away from any of the weaknesses. We
Mhm.
don't cover anything or hide anything, but we want to, have the home start out on its best foot because you only have one chance to make a good first impression.
Absolutely. You have 8 seconds, I'm told.
Yeah, yeah, about 10 to 15 seconds in the foyer when the buyers kind of hop in the foyer and they pan around and look left to right. Those I feel are the important areas to stage because that's what the buyer's first seeing,
Right.
besides, of course, the curb appeal and the photos, which we'll talk about
Right.
later.
So let's talk about that versus a fully occupied home. How do you strike that balance, making a home appealing to the widest range of buyers while still respecting the seller's personal style?
Right, right. Well, we try to go through and give the sellers, first I educate them for a few minutes on what staging is and the importance of it so they really understand, what the background is and why they're doing it. It's not just busy work. We like to make the rooms feel as modern as possible, as less cluttered as possible. So when using their items, I try to keep the items that are sort of the most on trend, the main items that sort of delineate the space of the room. And then other items that might be more dated, they might be a little older. As beautiful as they are, we tactfully ask the homeowner to maybe pack those up and then sort of pull out any accessories that they might have that are um, more modern. You know, sometimes we can update a lamp by changing out a lampshade, you know, or we can update a dining room table by adding a runner and some modern accessories, things like that. So we never want to insult the seller, make them feel bad about what they have in the home. We want to work with them and give them the understanding of what we're doing and why.
Hmm.
So we do strike a really good balance. Sometimes it's a matter of baby steps that we take when we do this, because at first the buyers may be a little reluctant to put things away because they love their items, you know, and we
Hmm.
do, we honor, we cherish their items, but we also want to explain to them why some of those might need to be put away. So sort of as you go through the process, you go through the first couple steps, then the seller starts to see how great the property looks and they start to even buy in more. So then they'll go ahead and maybe put away a few more things or do a few more recommendations that we are recommending, things like that. They get on board and they get excited about things. So,
Right.
and I bring in things too from my own inventory sometimes.
Absolutely. Well, and I know from my own experience working with you that when you and I get done staging a home and getting it ready, the common thing that I hear my sellers say is, "Wow, the place looks so great. I don't even know if I want to sell it now."
I've had a few of those.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah, where they change their mind.
So yeah, so that all makes
Yeah.
sense. So all right, so let's get practical for a second here. A lot of my viewers and the people watching this video today happen to be or will soon be selling a home. Sellers want to know what can they do right away, right now, to get their home looking its best before you ever even show up. For instance, let me kind of give you four questions. I know it's going to be a lot to unpack, but let me just read them and then you can kind of go through them one at a time. So, like, what are the top three things every seller should tackle first? Are there inexpensive fixes like paint, lighting, or decluttering? You know how much I like putting up new light fixtures that really give the biggest bang for the buck. Which
Right.
room should they prioritize first for staging? And what are some of the common mistakes you see when sellers try to stage their homes on their own?
Right. Well, the first things I always say they should do before I even arrive is to probably do nothing because a lot of times they will decide to paint or they do modifications that are not in the best interest of staging because they're doing what they feel they like. It's specific to them. And I get back to the first things we talked about that we want to sort of undecorate or de-decorate property. We don't want things that they necessarily like. So I would say just wait, let me come and look at it as it is, and then I will guide them step by step, let them know what to do. Sometimes they may pause things or throw out things or move things out that we might need, like a big piece of furniture. They may get rid of a sofa or a side chair or a dresser when all you need to do is update it a little bit. Like I said before, put a runner on it and some nice accessories, maybe touch up a nick of paint or something. So I would say just don't do anything. Let me come first. And I kind of guide you. They have to sort of also adopt the mindset of first it's a house. Well, first it's a home, I should say. Sorry. First it's a home. Then we like them to sort of think about it as just a house. Then we want them to transition into thinking about it as a product on the market. Sort of have to detach from it. And then if they really wanted to do something, they didn't want to leave out personal things, you know, before for my first visit, they could go ahead and pack any personal items like family photos, wedding photos, diplomas, trophies, certificates, things like that. But I usually just say, just let me come see it first and as soon as possible before they start making any changes that might be, you know, incorrect for staging.
Mm,
This is the way you live in the home, the way you market and sell the home are two different things. So,
that's really
um,
helpful advice.
and it says inexpensive changes. Yes, it's hard because everybody wants to clean up. They want the house to look nice when I come, but like don't throw away anything, get rid of anything, don't paint, don't do anything permanent before I get there. So you never know what we might need. Look for something of the same shape, size, and color of what we're looking for.
Hmm.
We've used lampshades upside down as a vase with all flowers in it. So everything could be of value, and they may not know what we need and what we're looking for. So I hate to waste anything that's in the property. I like to use everything that they have, and then if we need to supplement with some rentals from me, we can do that.
Got it. Well, that's really important stuff. And
So
I actually didn't think about some of that stuff myself.
yeah,
'Cause I'll go in and I'll
yeah.
say, we need to start decluttering right now. But, you know, I didn't even think about that there might be some things that you could find in that little excess stuff that they have that could be helpful.
Right, right. Because then after we do get done staging, or after I do come in and start giving them a to-do list with recommendations, I'll let them know. Go ahead and you can let this stuff go. This other stuff you can keep. And, then we do further pare down as well. After the staging, we'll have like a little pile of no thank yous, we call them, at the door of things that we didn't use. And then they could go ahead and pack those up, carefully and get them ready for moving.
Got it. Very helpful stuff. So staging isn't just about how a home looks in person when they walk in. It also makes a huge difference online, because that's usually the first place people see the home that they end up buying, right? Is in the pictures. So let's talk about that for a second. How would you say staging impacts the real estate photography and the online listings?
It's a huge difference. Like before, you only get one chance to make a good first impression, a good memorable impression. So you definitely want to have your online presence be the best it can be. So staging does that. It puts the house in good order, and then a professional photographer takes the proper pictures and makes it look good. Um, Buyers are looking online, and they will just flip to the next home online right away if they see something they don't like. If there's colors they don't like, or if it's just not photographed well. So it's really important to get the first impression done online, looking good, and then when they pull up to the curb appeal is again the next thing that has to look great before even entering the house.
Hmm.
You need to get them in the front door in order to look at the house and buy it. So if it's looking good online, they're not going to come and see it. And I have a little story, a little personal thing. If I can
Yeah,
tell
go
you that
ahead.
later. But
Absolutely.
in the house that I personally live in now, it was empty for about 3 years. But we looked online because we wanted this type of community property. We looked online, and the homes did not look good. They were not staged. They were not photographed well. They were like taken with cell phones. The photographer, I don't know what happened, but they took all the worst angles of the pool house and the barn and big 12-acre pasture, all the property. I just was turned off. I didn't even want to come see it. And so one day we happened to be driving back after my daughter's volleyball practice, and I said, "Well, let's just go drive in for the heck of it." We pulled in, and it was just gorgeous. I was floored. It was so pretty. We got a neighbor to take us down to the barn, looked at the barn, talked about the amenities, and then the neighbor pointed up to the house I have now, and she's like, "That one on the hill is coming up soon, so keep your eye out for it." So I drove over there, peered in all the windows. It was vacant, so I couldn't get in. It was actually foreclosure. They were working on it. So needless to say, I bought it right away and, paid asking because I didn't want the neighbor who said he was going to buy it to get it from under me. So anyway, it's just a funny story because I wanted nothing to do with it through the pictures. It
Right.
just did not look good. Had I not driven here and looked at it in person, I would
Right.
have missed this opportunity. So it's very important for your online presence to
So,
be perfect.
so when you're staging
Yeah.
a home, obviously you're thinking about a lot of things. You're thinking about how is this home gonna look online in the pictures, but you also have to be combining that with what emotions do you want to pull out of a buyer when they actually walk into the home? So what emotions are you
Right,
trying
right.
to elicit, trying to pull out, trying to create?
Um, well, first and foremost, we want them to like what they see when they first come in. They got the 10 to 15 seconds before they have a conclusion or an opinion. We want to have them envision themselves living there. They have to see themselves living there. It has to be visually appealing, very homey, comfortable. We're not just selling the property, we're selling a lifestyle. So we want them to feel like they want that lifestyle. We want them to have a connection with the home, an emotional connection. And that's why we always say vacant homes don't show well because there's not that emotional connection. We like to appeal to all the senses. So your sight, your hearing, smell, taste, and touch, everything. We want the temperature to be comfortable. We don't want any funky aromas. We want everything they see to look good. Everything they're hearing. We don't want, trains or traffic, things like that. Um, it's just really important. The items in the house are not the emphasis. We want the feel of the home and just the general vibe to be what's emphasized. And so
Hmm.
they can make a connection, come in, sit down, look around, and really picture themselves living there.
Awesome. Do you adjust your staging depending upon what type of home it is? For example, a home that might cater more to first-time home buyers or a home that will cater to downsizers or luxury buyers. Do you go through a little process with that?
It's basically the same process. It's kind of the same recommendations. We want the house to feel spacious, to look clean and neat and neutral. But if it's a luxury home, we may recommend some higher end finishes, like say they were going to replace a countertop. We would say definitely maybe go with the quartz, not, Formica or something, a little higher end for the luxury. Same with the artwork and the accessories. We don't want it to be too lower end for a luxury property. But it's basically the same recommendations, the same like mindset type of thing that we
Got it.
go through. Yeah.
So, Anne, before we wrap up, I'd like to hear your thoughts on some quick thoughts on trends in the future of staging. Like, are there any trends that you're seeing right now that really working well in today's market?
Um, we try not to do too many trends actually because those come and go.
Yeah.
But we do like to have it sort of a transitional decor, which is not super modern, but not too traditional. We do lean into a little bit of the natural and sustainable elements and materials right now, like wellness spaces, yoga spaces, meditation, exercise. Um, some of the bathrooms we like to make spa-like with like the loofahs and the natural like bath brushes and natural elements, a little bit of wood, like driftwood or natural wood in some of the accessories, things like that. We like to layer the textures. Um, like we always talk about the layering of pillows and throw blankets on a sofa.
Mm.
Same with the bed. We like to layer a lot of, pillows, throw blankets, comforters, things like that. Like to add a little vintage with modern as well. We don't want it to just look like a page out of a magazine.
Hmm.
Like the home to look like sort of like the storied home where it came together eclectically over time. Um, Trying to think what else. Just again, clean and neutral. We try to stay away from too many of the decorating trends per se. Although wallpaper is coming back a little bit, so
Hmm.
maybe we'll dabble in a little wallpaper on a focal wall. Or if somebody has a powder room that has been sort of, the whole thing wallpapered, it's a little bit busy, a little glam, but it's the small room. So sometimes that's kind of on trend right now. We may not touch that if it's not too dark of a
Oh,
wallpaper. We
okay.
may leave that. Things
So if
like
you
that.
could give every seller, or the meeting time that we have, I just got a notification, we're running a little short here. If you could give every seller just one piece of advice about staging, what would it be?
Definitely invest in the staging. You won't be disappointed. A lot of people feel that it's a cost or an expenditure. It's actually an investment.
Hmm.
You will be happy you did it. You can save hundreds or tens of thousands of dollars. It's just very important. You want your home to sell for the most because you have to turn around and probably buy another home, which is going to be at a higher price in this market. So you're going to need every penny. And most people, it's their biggest asset is their home. So
Right.
why leave money on the table? You know, hot market or not, seller's market, buyer's market, you definitely want to get the most out of your home, and staging will do that. I have
Those
more
are,
stats on that. I don't know if we have time for that, but it's just really important. And
it
you'd
is,
be
it is.
happy to go through it. And again, we're very flexible, so you can do as little or as much as you like. Like I said, sometimes it's a process. They start slower and then they start to do more and more.
Right.
And the sellers that do more really, really benefit and they come out way ahead.
Yes, and I can speak from personal experience that that is the case. Those are awesome insights, Ann. I want to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your expertise and your years of background with this today. So, look,
Welcome.
if you're
Thank you.
thinking about selling your home, staging can make all the difference in how fast it sells and the price you get. And if you'd like to connect with Ann or learn more about staging, just reach out to me or better yet, give Ann a call and mention you saw her on this video. Ann, what is the best phone number for the viewers to reach out to you at?
It's 847-340-9436. Can text, call, or email me or find me on Instagram. My website's under reconstruction, but Instagram, it's @ Home Staging Solutions.
That's awesome. Thanks again for being here, Ann, and sharing all your wonderful insights. And don't
Thanks for
forget to
having me.
like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future real estate tips. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on my next video in this series on how to negotiate properly to get the best price whether you're buying or selling. See you next time, and make it a great day.